just in life. To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
All right. What is it, Tuesday night already? What's going on? It's the Tuesday night Radio Baloney Live. I'm your host, Richie Baloney. Hope everybody's doing okay. Let me know if you can hear me fine out there, if the audio's okay, everything looking good. I have been known to have technical difficulties in the past. But I hope everybody had a great weekend. And of course, there's lots and lots of news. Tons and tons of news. What are we going to go through? Well, let's go through the menu. First, we're going to take a look at the polls. We'll probably come back to that again later. But we'll take a little bit of a look at this, and it's looking good for Trump. It's like nothing guaranteed, but it's looking very good for Trump. We'll take a look at that. We have big news. We've got a bunch of stuff. First, we're going to take a look at Canadian doctors give Nova Scotia woman information about euthanasia as she faces surgery to remove breast cancer. That's how well the healthcare system is going in Canada right now. I will talk about that. Kamala's got UK campaign advisors. Kamala has UK campaign advisors that are pushing to kill Musk's Twitter. This is a big story. We're going to go into it in depth. Got a bunch of research going on here. I really did my work for the stream tonight, you guys. I've got lots on this. It's pretty interesting, and it's not at all surprising. We've got the LA Times declining to endorse Kamala Harris after backing Dems since 2008. What's going on there? Bit strange, isn't it? Bit strange. Not a good sign for Kamala. And of course, from Joe Rogan headquarters, Trump is going to be on Rogan this Friday. So that is going to be something else. And we'll be live Friday as well. So, we'll be going live after this airs. So that's something we'll be able to talk about. But that's huge news. How will it go? I'm thinking that it's very difficult for this not to work out for Trump, I think. But you never know. I mean, something crazy could happen. Joe could just decide, he could just decide to start grilling Trump, and it could kind of go sideways. But I guess we'll have to see. All right. Yeah, somebody out there, let me know if the audio is looking good or sounding good. Everything's working fine. Thank you very much. Let's see. Then we've got a very interesting story here. So we've got in Tarrant County, Texas, it's reporting that the voting machines are flipping their votes from Trump to Kamala Harris. This is an interesting story. This is not, it's kind of a scary thing. It's the sort of thing that everybody who's concerned about the election in the United States is kind of worried about. And these machines are not very good. What's going on there? We'll take a little bit of a look at that. We'll, of course, see what Kamala has been up to. And that's nothing good. Nothing good. What do we got here? Liberal government shared foreign interference intelligence with Washington Post while Canadians were kept in the dark. Isn't that interesting? This seems a bit odd, isn't it? Almost seems like Trudeau is a totally corrupt politician. Huh. Well, I guess we'll have to take a look at that. What else we got here? Jordan Peterson. We did a story last week. We did a story, I think, what was it, on Sunday, or maybe it was on Friday. Jordan Peterson's was thinking about suing Justin Trudeau because Justin Trudeau lied at the foreign interference inquiry and said that Jordan Peterson, just out of nowhere, Jordan Peterson's funded by Russia. Apparently, this is a complete lie. Jordan Peterson was thinking about suing Trudeau, but the problem is that the inquiry is seen as, it looks like it's seen as an extension of Parliament, which would give Trudeau parliamentary privilege, which means he can't be sued for lying. So it means that Trudeau, in that role, in that venue, can just do what he always does, which is lie with total impunity, including slandering people, slandering Canadian citizens. because he thinks it's politically expedient. What a guy. What a guy.
I have a slight learning disability.
We know. You've also got a slight telling the truth disability as well. Let's see. I got a bunch of just random stuff that I've pulled together over the last couple of days. We'll go through all of this. And of course, if things get too heavy, if we need a little bit of a break, we might be going long tonight. If we need a bit of a break, we've got some informational, some self-help stuff here. Like if your knife breaks because you're hitting it with a stick for some reason, this lady here has an easy way to fix the handle. And that's all that this video is about. We have nature scenes. I always like nature scenes. It's so relaxing. We've got sports as well. Let's take a quick peek. I predict this is going to be one of the top 3 sports in the world soon. We've got sanding. I find sanding very calming. Sanding is extremely calming to watch. So we've got that. We've got Salma Hayek in a pool. And we've got this lady here who's just decided just to take a quick little video of herself in her kitchen. I appreciate it. So if things get too heavy, if we need something a little bit, a palate cleanser, like a lovely nature scene, for instance, we can always go to that for a couple of minutes. So that's everything we're looking at. What's going on? Looks like we got JJ Nevada in the chat. Good to see ya. Looks like JJ Nevada got on the got the first like on the stream. Well, you know what that means? That means double good karma. Of course, you get good karma every time you click on the like or when you subscribe to the channel. But the first one gets double. So JJ gets that all the time, and I can tell. I mean, we know things are going pretty well for him. He says that Trugina, of course, any Trugina in the chat gets an applause. Trugina is a POS. What does POS stand for again? Nawada says, did you hear that Trump is going on Rogan Friday? Yes, we're going to talk about it. Very interesting. I think there's a lot of ways that can go very, very well for Trump and not many avenues by which it could go badly. So it seems like a no-brainer, doesn't it? All right, so what's going on with the polls? We're getting really close now, right? So we've got the real clear average. It's still 0.9. We've got some new polls that have come out. You've got Morning Consult, Harris +4. Got Rasmussen +1. Reuters, Ipsos, Harris +3. USA Today, Suffolk, Harris +1. You've got TIPP. That's a tie. Those are the most Emerson, that's got Harris +1. These are the most, and also Atlas Intel's got Trump up by 3. Those are the most recent ones. So we shall see. I mean, the most recent 2 here is Rasmussen +1, Reuters, Ipsos +3, for an average of 0.9. 0.9. Now, again, I keep reminding, the polls were off in 2016 by about 3.5 points, biased towards Clinton in that election. In 2020, they're off by about 4.5, biased towards Biden. So this number does not look particularly good for Harris. That's the national number, which at the end of the day, it's going to be the swing states. But that's not a good number for her, even just to win the popular vote. So the swing states, the battleground states, got Trump up 1+1. The thing about this is these are all pretty tight. I mean, you've got Georgia 2.5 right now, but the rest of them are all, 0.9, 0.4. That's, 0.4 North Carolina, Pennsylvania 0.8. That should all be within the margin of error. But the thing about it is that it's all of them. Like it's all 7 of them are polling with Trump in the lead right now. So that tells, that looks very good for Trump, does it not? This doesn't account, obviously, for any shadow campaigns or fortifying, as they call it. But it's a good sign, especially considering how off the polls were in favor of Biden in 2020. I mean, some of them were off by like 13 points, like biased towards the Democrats. So this is all looking good for Trump right now. Not a guarantee of anything. And again, this doesn't account for fortifying. Fortifying is what they call it. Some people have a different word for it. I don't know. But you see here, let's update this quickly. So right now you got Trump. This is the poly market betting odds. Again, not a poll, but this is, where people are putting their money, and people tend to be fairly serious, where they put their money. It's opened up to, I mean, that's a fairly, and what's that, 27 points? It was actually at about 30 not that long ago. But that's a pretty, I mean, in terms of obviously public opinion, where people think it's going to go, it's really opening up. I mean, you can see here, right? Like there we were, it was pretty close there. And suddenly it opened up. And it opened up when Kamala started getting out and actually doing media, and people actually heard her. So there was nothing else they could do. They had to get her out, but it just hasn't worked out. We'll see what happens in a couple of weeks, but she's not performing well right now. And it seems like maybe it was just a matter of hubris from the machine, that doesn't matter if anybody had voted for the candidate. Just not even a kind of charade of, like at the convention of, any kind of competition or choice. No, just we're going to anoint her. She's just it. We're just going to put her in. That's it. Nobody has any say. It doesn't matter who she is. We've got this giant machine of media and big tech and every institution that is going to be propagandizing 24/7 and a giant tidal wave of narrative control. And that'll be enough because people are just ants and they'll do what we say. Well, some people do behave like ants, but it's not enough of them. It doesn't look like, or at least not as many as they thought. Let's see. Nevada, 14 days left. I can't wait for it to be over already. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing a live streaming it. Maybe starting at 7 o'clock or something, 7 o'clock Pacific time, 10 o'clock Eastern. Because it should be pretty crazy. I don't know. If you guys want that, you guys can let me know. And Nevada says, I think Trump will win in spite of all the cheating and corruption. If the bias in the polls holds as it, the same as it was 2016, 2020, then it should be an easy win for him. Let's see. Nevada says, B took today off with 14 days to go. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? I know, it's amazing. I mean, well, I think I've got a video of Trump talking about that, how nuts that is. But yeah, I mean, that's maybe she's having anxiety attacks or something. I mean, that seems to be kind of unforgivable. 14. There's a lot of billionaires spent a lot of money getting her there, right? Getting her to this place. They got to be disappointed in her. Let's see. Nevada says, you should, Richie. Yeah, I think I'll probably live stream it. Let's see. Maybe like 7 till midnight, something like that, which would be, 10 until 3 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast. Nevada says, I think she knows what is going to happen. She's got to be getting nervous. Again, there's some billionaires who spent a lot of money to trick people into voting for her. All right, so there we go. So we've got a lot of stories to get to. Let's get started. We'll do this one first, then we'll get to Rogan and Trump going on Rogan. We'll get to this story, this insane story about the Kamala advisors that are from the UK that are trying to, they've made it a mission to destroy X, and it's not like they're without any power either. That's a long one. We're going to spend a lot of time on that one. Let's take a look at this one first. Canadian doctors. So Canadian doctors give Nova Scotia woman information about euthanasia as she faces surgery to remove breast cancer. This is what Canadian healthcare has come to now. Sure, you don't want to just die? Probably easier for, well, it's easier for us. Cheaper. We just did a segment on a live stream. I think it was on Friday or last week at some point, talking about the lunacy of the medical assistance in dying MAiD in Canada, and how it's being, by 2027, it's going to include basically just anybody can just walk up and say, I want to die. Just mental illness, drug addiction, whatever. You know, just the easy way out. And easy way out for the government. It's one less person to pay for, right? It's not at all surprising from far leftists who don't see you as an individual, who just see you as part of this big faceless blob, or maybe as like a labor unit or something. Not at all surprising. I think this is actually the ideal for them. Quote, the issue is the sensitivity or appropriateness of raising the question of an awareness of MAiD at the time, and I can certainly understand the patient being put off by that. Yeah, the patient being put off by your doctor asking if you'd rather just die. Oh, just so you know, you could die, right? We could just kill you. A Nova Scotia woman waiting for a mastectomy operation for breast cancer was asked twice by doctors if she was aware of the availability of medical assistance in dying, or MAiD, Canada's euthanasia program. By the way, Canada is now the world leader in killing its own citizens. World leader. Canada used to be this nice, boring, reasonably well-managed country. It is now a cautionary tale for the rest of the West, for the rest of the Western world. Right? For Americans watching this show, looking up north, you should look north and shudder and shiver and say, there but for the grace of God go I. I know you've got bad problems down there too. Really bad problems. And really, it's all the same kind of, most of it's all the same kind of problems across the West. And actually, that's a subject we're going to be getting into with some other stories that we're going to get to tonight. But really, everybody should look at Canada and realize how quickly a society, a country, a culture can just go nuts. It's a cautionary tale. People should look at Canada and shudder and shiver. And if it's not as bad wherever they live yet, just say, there but for the grace of God go I. Thank God I'm not living in Canada. The woman who asked to remain anonymous said that before her first mastectomy, a doctor asked her in a list of preoperative questions if she was aware of MAiD, medical assistance in dying, and its potential relevance to her condition. Per the National Post, this is predatory behavior. Predatory. It's not supposed to be offered. It's supposed to be something that you have to ask for. Doctors aren't supposed to be saying, oh, by the way, we'll kill you. Do you want to just die? I mean, I'm pretty busy later tonight anyway. So I'm busy all weekend. We're all busy. We're having a party. We're doing a TikTok dance party all week. It'd be a lot easier if you just died. Like, it feels like predatory behavior to me. Especially when you've got people going through traumatic events like mastectomies, going through traumatic events like cancer. Like, that seems like the worst possible time to just start offering to kill people. Cautionary tale. Canada is a cautionary tale. Quote, it was upsetting, not because I thought they were trying to kill me. I was shocked that it happened. I was like, again? This happened again? I don't know. Maybe they are trying to kill you. If they keep asking you if you want them to kill you, maybe that's what they want. I mean, it's not like it's a slip of the tongue. They meant something else. Like, oh, can I get you a glass of water? Can we kill you? It feels very intentional. She believes she was asked about euthanasia as she, quote, was literally on her way to surgery because she has a long history of autoimmune and other disorders that could make her eligible for MAiD. Well, starting in 2027, it's going to be just mental illness, depression, drug addiction. They're expanding it to basically everything. Nonetheless, her story highlights how some doctors are increasingly apt to talk about euthanizing their patients before their patients are even thinking about it as a possibility. Yes, you're not supposed to suggest it. The patient is supposed to bring it up. And of course, we're not talking about people who have terminal illnesses and there's nothing that can be done and it's just going to be agony. That's not what we're talking about. Nobody has a problem with that, right? Going out on your own terms in that way. We're talking about people that are depressed. We're talking about a 30-year-old who's depressed. That's not the state's place to say, well, we could just kill you. I mean, that's such a macabre, that's such a grim view of life. It's such a grim view of humanity. It's such a cynical view. Where is the hope in that? Where's the optimism in that? Where's the humanity in that? Well, there isn't any. This practice is either outlawed or frowned upon in most countries with a euthanasia program. The Post reported, outlawed or frowned. This is what I'm saying. Canada is now a cautionary tale. Look at Canada and marvel at how fast the fall can come. Marvel at it. Marvel. Electing just an empty suit. Just, the face of globalism. Justin Trudeau. In 10 years, he's wrecked this country. It can happen so fast when everybody falls asleep and doesn't take it seriously. When everybody just wants to be nice, right? Everybody wants to be nice and empathetic and pretend to be empathetic. Pretend to be empathetic while they walk over the people ODing on the sidewalk as they're on their way to get their, oat milk chai latte. It turns out you actually have to take things seriously, right? You can't let essentially actors run your country. Certainly not like former drama teachers, snowboard instructors like Trudeau. He's got the famous last name. It's true. He's got a great haircut. He came in with a great haircut, great teeth, nice salt and pepper goatee. Not enough. Just not enough. Sorry, commie. Not enough. That's what you say. When you see just some faceless, just some faceless, soulless tool of the machine, like a Kamala Harris say, just off the top of my head, this is what you say. Sorry, commie. Commie gets nothing. Just look at us. Just look at the cautionary tale that is Canada. We are awarding to everybody. I mean, we're going to get rid of them at the latest October next year. But, probably have another year of suffering. Let's see. The Nova Scotia woman whose story was first reported by The Telegraph has led a happy and productive life and isn't looking for sympathy. I'm nobody's teachable moment. Although she wasn't specifically offered MAiD, she said that the matter-of-fact way in which such a life and death issue was raised through me. It came up in completely inappropriate places and completely inappropriate times. Well, if you don't want to die and you've got somebody offering to kill you, I feel like that's always inappropriate, isn't it? Quote, I am a very lucky woman. I have a large and supportive family. I have all the love, she said, but I felt small and lonely and alone in that hallway before going into surgery. I used the word predatory, didn't I? I did. Let's see. Dr. Gus Grant, Registrar and Chief Executive Officer of the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Nova Scotia, told the Post that it was, quote, clearly inappropriate and insensitive for a doctor to start discussing euthanasia just as a patient is about to be operated on. I can understand why the patient was upset. Yeah. I think that's totally normal, actually, when people offer to kill you. I'm a little bit perturbed by your offer, sir. Uh, just lunacy. Let's see. Medical assistance in dying in Canada. This is the reality. This is what happens when you allow this sort of legislation. Let's see. Rates of medical assistance in dying from the Globe and Mail for non-terminal illnesses in Ontario higher in poorer neighborhoods, reports say. Well, you got too many of those poors. You know what you got to do? You got to MAiD them. It doesn't matter. They're not individuals. They're just part of a faceless mass, right? That's what our far left government thinks, apparently. Let's see. I got a couple more things here. Let's see. MAiD in Canada. So this is what got us to the top of the pile in terms of killing our own citizens in the world. 2016. So here you've got Trudeau. These are all Trudeau years, right? Up. He kept looking at the stats every year and said, nope, not enough people are dead yet. Got to kill more. Pass some new legislation. What about depressed people? Depressed people, they don't want to be around, right? Let's kill them. What's this? From CBC News, quadriplegic Quebec man chooses assisted dying after a 4-day ER stay, leaves horrific bed sore. Yeah. So Trudeau has ruined Canadian healthcare with his mass immigration, which it's just simply the system can't handle it. All of the new people, it's too much, especially when you have like chain migration where everybody's bringing in their grandparents who are probably going to need like ICUs and medical care, more likely to than young people coming. This is what you get. And what is the solution? Just kill people. If you can get away with it. What else we got here? All right. You know what? I think we'll leave this. Story. And I think that after that, we need a palate cleanser. A lovely nature scene. There we go. That's much better. Just something soothing and calming. Let's get to the chat here. Nevada says, so the election's on a Tuesday. Of course it is. I'm doing a live stream anyway on Tuesday nights. We might start a bit later then for that one if I'm going to live stream the election. Might start a little bit later. Instead of 6, maybe 7 or 7:30 or something. Let's see. Sue's 0809. Good to see you in the chat. Says, I heard from someone doing a podcast today that Harris is slated to win no matter the voting. Could this be real? Well, I mean, I think that's what the fortifying is for, right? I mean, it is an election system that is designed to be insecure, right? Like California, Gavin Newsom just banned voter ID across California. That's one example. You know, there's 14 states that don't need voter ID. So, you know, obviously mail-in ballots, mass mail-in ballots, it's a problem. You've got the Biden administration suing, is it Virginia, to prevent them from, or Georgia, to prevent them from getting rid of or excising invalid voter registrations from their records. So what would the point of that be? From purging names off the voter rolls that shouldn't be on the voter rolls for whatever reason. I mean, what is the purpose of that? What is the purpose of that? That's going on in that there's I think it's in Georgia. In fact, you know what? Let's do this right now. Hold on. Fact check. Hold on a sec, you guys. We'll be right back on the stream in a second. Let's see. All right. Biden, this is from October 11th. Biden administration sues Virginia over voter purge program. So what's the motivation there? Is it for a more secure election? The Biden administration sued Virginia election officials Friday, alleging that they were violating federal law by purging voters flagged as potential non-citizens during the so-called quiet period before an election, when electoral officials are forbidden from undertaking systemic removals of blah, 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 blah. So it seems like there's an effort, and hold on a second. What's going on here? Biden admin slapped with major lawsuit over alleged refusal to help state purge non-citizens from voter rolls. The Biden administration has pushed back against some states' efforts to purge voter rolls. So that's getting people off the voter rolls that shouldn't be voting or that aren't alive, for instance. So I guess it does make sense for them to be opposed to that, right? So the state of Florida is suing them, right? So there's weird things happening. So who knows? That's my answer. Who knows what's going to happen? Anyway, let's get back to a lovely, peaceful, calming nature scene. Nevada says, sus, I hope not, but I wouldn't put anything past this awful government. It's hard to be surprised by anything at this point, isn't it? After everything that everybody's seen. Nevada says, I think the cheating would have to be so in your face that it wouldn't fly. But if you control almost all of the media and almost all of big tech, I mean, you've got essentially in like big corporate media, there's Fox News, who's not reliable in any case. And then you've just got X. You've just got X, which is not being a left-wing censorship machine. So why wouldn't you feel confident just doing it in people's faces if you're going to have this massive propaganda machine, this massive narrative control machine behind you? It doesn't matter. Like it doesn't actually matter what they do or how obvious it is. Those people reading off the teleprompters and writing in the New York Times or the Washington Post, they're not paid to inform the public. They're paid to manipulate the public. That's their job. That is literally their job now. Hold on one sec. All right. Nevada says, nothing like getting ready for surgery and being asked, would you prefer to just die? Yeah, welcome to Canada. Hey, we got spam bot fodder in the chat. Good to see ya. Good evening to you, fellow degenerate. All right, let's get on to the next thing. So this is interesting. It's totally unsurprising. Kamala's UK campaign advisors push to kill Musk's Twitter. So what's going on here? Internal documents obtained by Racket, that's Matt Taibbi, and the Disinformation Chronicle from the Center for Countering Hate have revealed plans from the group to kill Musk's Twitter. So let me read that again. Internal documents obtained by Racket and the Disinformation Chronicle from the Center for Countering Hate have revealed plans from the group to kill Musk's Twitter. The center was founded by British political operative Morgan McSweeney, who is now advising the Kamala Harris campaign. Isn't that interesting? So he is also, I believe, the campaign manager, this Morgan McSweeney, for Keir Starmer, who is the insanely far-left authoritarian prime minister of the UK. And his organization that he founded is working, I think, with the British government to try and get rid of, to kill, to literally, in their words, kill Twitter, kill Musk's Twitter. And they're advising Kamala Harris. Isn't that interesting? We always say all the time, like, there's no way that all of this crap, the mass immigration, the censorship attempts, that all of this stuff is just happening. It's just a coincidence it's happening across the West all at the same time. There is no way. It's clearly being coordinated. This is a perfect example of that. They're clearly all working together. Here you've got British far leftist authoritarians working with the Kamala Harris campaign. Kamala Harris has threatened Elon Musk, and she doesn't think that you should just be able to say whatever you want on X. That's crazy, she thinks. You might say things that she doesn't like or that are critical of her. Well, it turns out the Labour Party and the UK leftists, they feel the same way. It's hate when they don't like something that you say. Politico in August called the Labour Party the, quote, unofficial sister party of the U.S. Democrats, and a Labour Party strategist has joined the Harris campaign. Well, let's take a look at this Center for Countering Digital Hate. This is the organization in question. So they have quite an obsession with Elon Musk. Here's one example of it. Musk misleading election claims viewed 1.2 billion times on X with no fact checks. Uh-oh, no fact checks. Oh, dear. Well, actually, there are fact checks on X, by the way. It's the community notes, but whatever. Elon Musk is spreading harmful election disinformation on X, breaking his platform's own guidelines. This organization is deeply tied to the Labour Party. It's an entirely partisan political organization, as far as I can tell, and it's got those connections through this McSweeney fellow. It's one of those, anti-hate, countering hate organizations that is only interested in one kind of hate, even if they have to make it up. There's a whole bunch of other hate they're not interested in. Like, they're not interested in any kind of far-left hatred or far-left violence or far-left misinformation. Why? Because they're partisan. It's not their job to worry about that. It's their job to smear anybody who is one step to the right of them. So what's going on here? It says that new analysis shows that Elon Musk's false or misleading claims about the U.S. elections have been viewed nearly 1.2 billion times on X, and you know that they're false or misleading because they're telling you so. None of the posts displayed a community note. X is named for user-generated fact checks that Musk claims are a clear and immediate way to refute anything false posted to X. Well, maybe they weren't false. That's an explanation. Let's see. Musk's false. In fact, let's make this a little bigger. This should be a bit bigger. Hold on. Musk's false or misleading posts about the election fall into three main categories. It sounds very serious. Claims the Democrats are importing voters. For one thing, that's an opinion, right? So how do you even fact check that? He thinks that that's what they're doing, and it seems to be. It's extremely plausible that that's what they're doing. Claims voting is vulnerable to fraud. How could it not be? I mean, any vote is vulnerable to fraud anywhere in the world. I mean, there's no level of security that can make any system totally invulnerable to it. But again, okay. Oh, by the way, people have been convicted of voter fraud in the United States while Biden has been in office. So there's also that. AI generated fake video of Democratic nominee Kamala Harris. Yeah, I've seen the obvious satirical content that was labeled parody or satire. We've all seen that. Let's see. Musk's claims that Democrats are importing voters viewed 747 million times. See, they just want to shut. Their plans are obvious, but they don't want anybody talking about it. They want to shut everybody up. Don't forget, this is a far leftist organization. Let's see. What does it say on here? Elon Musk said the Dem Party goal is to import voters. From FX head chair, Biden considering granting amnesty, handing out green cards to illegal immigrants. President Joe Biden is currently considering granting amnesty to illegal migrants in a bid to act on the worsening immigration crisis. That's acting on it. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of feels like they want to get them voting, doesn't it? Let's see. I mean, it's like this is their evidence. Like this is them trying to convince you that Musk is totally wrong about this. It's actually bizarre. Let's see. Fact checkers say Musk is wrong to claim that Democrats are recruiting immigrants to build a majority for their party because it takes years for immigrants to become U.S. citizens with voting rights and because there is no guarantee who they would vote for. No idea. Non-citizens who vote also risk deportation or incarceration. Let's see. Are recruiting immigrants to build a majority for their party because it takes years for immigrants to become U.S. citizens. So Democrats ask Biden to streamline citizenship for undocumented immigrants. They think that you're an idiot. They think that you're an idiot. That's what's happening here. Let's get to the story from Racket News. So this is Paul D. Thacker and Matt Taibbi. Election exclusive. British advisors to Kamala Harris hope to kill Musk's Twitter. Says England, not Russia, is the culprit in a real foreign election interference story. As the leaked stateside plans of an advisory group with close ties to Prime Minister Keir Starmer show. So they've gotten some leaked documents. The British are coming to meddle in our elections. In an explosive leak with ramifications for the upcoming U.S. presidential election, internal documents from the Center for Countering Digital Hate. It's always the exact opposite, by the way, of what they say it is. No, it's Center for Encouraging Digital Hate Against the People That We Disagree With. That's really what it should say. Whose founder is British political operative Morgan McSweeney, now advising the Kamala Harris campaign, show the group plans in writing to, quote, kill Musk's Twitter, while strengthening ties with the Biden-Harris administration and Democrats like Senator Amy Klobuchar, who has introduced multiple bills to regulate online misinformation. You know what that is? Well, it's information, obviously. Klobuchar's office declined repeated requests for comment. I bet they did. We see this. It's not the first time we've seen this England connection, right? Remember Steele? Michael Steele, the Steele dossier, the Hillary Clinton paid for dossier that actually, if I remember correctly, there seemed to be a lot of Russians involved in that. Maybe you could even say Russian collusion in that, huh? It's too bad that never went anywhere. But it's not the first time. We're seeing clearly there is coordination happening here, cooperation between the UK and by the way, that was during the conservative government in the UK that utterly and totally betrayed their own voters. So it seems like it doesn't matter whether it's conservatives or Labour in the UK. So let's take a look. Here's part of the leaked info. So monthly priorities, annual priorities. What are the annual priorities? Well, first on the list is just straight up kill Musk's Twitter. Really? Just the first one on the list, and it just says kill Musk's Twitter. They weren't trying to couch it at all or kind of hide or obscure their intentions at all. No, just kill Musk's Twitter. What are we trying to do with Twitter again? Oh, we want to kill it. Do we have to say Musk's Twitter? Yes, we have to say Musk's Twitter because we hate him even more than we hate Twitter. So kill Musk's Twitter. Got it? Did you type it in? Perfect. I'll just leave it there. Let's see. AI voice launch, U.S. policy engagement. Set up meetings with Klobuchar's team to seek a, quote, press release endorsement. Our meeting with their team is on Tuesday. So they're very excited to get together and try and steal everybody's free speech or destroy it. The documents obtained by the Disinformation Chronicle and Racket show the Center for Countering Digital Hate, their hyper-focus on Musk. Kill Musk's Twitter is the first item in the template of its monthly agenda notes dating back to the early months of this year. So just every month, there's January, kill Musk's Twitter. March, kill Musk's Twitter. Just every month it's at the top. Did we kill Musk's Twitter yet? No, we didn't. Oh, we'll put it on the list for next month. First. It's the first thing. And it's obviously they're not interested in Google or Meta, right? Why? Why not? They're not worried about Instagram, right? Why not? Because they all, Zuckerberg fell over like a house of cards. Of course, Google is just intimately entwined with the interest of the deep state. They can do nothing else, and they would want to do nothing else. Not interested in those, even though the thing that they complain about is there's plenty of it. In fact, I think more on Meta platforms, Facebook, or other social media companies. So in any case, let's see. The Center for Countering Digital Hate documents carry particular importance because McSweeney's Labor Together, this is another organization from McSweeney, operatives have been teaching election strategy to Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. So McSweeney's Labor Together operatives have been teaching election strategy to Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, leading Politico to call Labor and the Democrats sister parties. Labor and the Democrats sister parties. Again, we keep saying this is not all happening. All these awful far-left authoritarian things are not happening in isolation in each country. It's obviously organized. It's obviously coordinated. They're not even hiding it, right? They're getting together in Davos every year. They're meeting up at the UN. And this is the stuff that they're coming up with. This is the stuff they're talking about. This is the stuff they're coordinating. It's not a coincidence that we see the same stuff, maybe by different means or slightly different means, but we see the same stuff in every single Western country. Here, it's plain for all to see. They're not even really trying to hide it. Let's see. In the last 2 months, the Washington Post and Politico, among others, have run a series of features about British advisors from Labor Together rescuing the distressed political damsel that is the Harris-Walz campaign. It's all just one big blob, one big globalist blob. Politico cast McSweeney as the election mastermind who first helped Keir Starmer defeat leftist Jeremy Corbyn to become head of Labor, although he's plenty leftist. I think he's actually more authoritarian leftist than Jeremy Corbyn, if you can believe it. All the way to Starmer's landslide win over Conservatives to become Prime Minister this past July, implying that McSweeney and his team can perform a similar miracle for Harris. Let's pray not. Otherwise, it's pretty much just the end, right? Just the end. In the U.S., a now defunct Center for Countering Digital Hate offshoot called Stop Funding Fake News led multiple successful boycotts of media figures across the spectrum, from Zero Hedge during the BLM riots to The Federalist. The formula often involved collaborating with a mainstream media outlet to level an accusation of bigotry, followed by a pressure campaign against advertisers to shut off revenue to the target. CCDH went directly after us, and he worked with Google when they briefly suspended all advertising on Zero Hedge, our primary source of revenue then, recalls Zero Hedge editor Tyler Durden, noting that the boycott came after CCDH worked with NBC, again, they're all in it together, on an article depicting them as racist for claiming damage from BLM riots was undercovered. So, accurately describing reality. Not surprising anymore. Similar tactics led to demonetization of The Federalist, whose apparent crime was a June 3rd, 2020 piece called "The Media Are Lying to You About Everything, Including the Riots." And they were. Like Zero Hedge, The Federalist criticized mainstream coverage of BLM protests, including calling not yet fired CNN anchor Don Lemon a not very bright man. Let's see. I mean, these are the people who brought us fiery but mostly peaceful. So there's that. Quote, NBC News colluded with a foreign left-wing group in an attempt to destroy us because it disagrees with our political commentary and media criticism, the Federalist editor Molly Hemingway told the Wall Street Journal at the time. So NBC News colluded with a foreign far-left group in an attempt to destroy us because it disagrees with our political commentary and media criticism. So this is a global attempt at far-left authoritarian oppression and censorship. They are globalists after all, right? Kind of got to expect it. Now, the Center for Countering Digital Hate's growing Washington office, so they've got a growing Washington office, not surprising under a Biden-Harris administration, is working on similar plans to kill the online presence of Democratic rivals like Musk by attacking X's advertising revenue, a tactic first perfected in London against the Canary. CCDH is also laying the foundation for broader regulatory changes in the direction of platform censorship. This is something that the WEF, the World Economic Forum, can't stop talking about it. They're obsessed with it. They love it. They have these little devious smiles, these little devious grins on their faces when they talk about it. Genuinely disturbing. Let's see. Quote, 60 meetings on the Hill, reads one CCDH task assignment from early 2024. Meeting with 16 congressional offices over the next 2 weeks to give updates on the Elon lawsuit, reads another, referring to Musk's since dismissed lawsuit against the CCDH, accusing it of manipulating data to make a case for proliferation of hate speech on X. So you can see this is just full-on collusion, right? The days of, well, at least while the Harris-Biden or the Biden-Harris regime lasts, there's going to be no defending American citizens that they don't like. There's no going to be defending an American company, right? Or American independence or the First Amendment rights of American. No. They're colluding. They're working with foreign countries to censor their own citizens. That's what's actually happening. And it's as clear as day. CCDH also held meetings with federal legislators while pushing for change in USA towards a censorious proposal it calls the STAR framework, which would create an independent digital regulator that could impose consequences for harmful content. We know what harmful content is. It's saying like, the Biden administration is trying to bring in people illegally so that they can then use them, rush them through the citizenship process, and then use them as voters, which seems really entirely plausible, doesn't it? I mean, it just seems kind of obvious, but that's going to be harmful content under the STAR framework, obviously, or just complaining about anything that your overlords are doing is going to be harmful content. Saying, hey, I don't want to own nothing. I don't want to own nothing and be happy because I don't think I'll be happy. Guess what that is? That's harmful content. Hey, I don't want to eat the bugs. Harmful content. Sorry, harmful content. I don't want to share my car with a bunch of strangers. Sorry, that's harmful content. Some Center for Countering Digital Hate in England said so. Sorry, out of luck. STAR's core concepts are similar to Europe's just instituted Digital Services Act and Britain's even more stringent Online Safety Act, which puts the national media regulator, Ofcom, in charge of determining fines for uncooperative platforms. And in fact, they're emptying out their prisons of people charged with serious violent crimes to make room for people that said things they don't like on the internet. That's real. That's genuine. All right. I think that's enough there. Let's so Elon Musk, in response to this report from Racket, British advisors to Kamala Harris hope to kill Musk's Twitter. He's saying this is war. So usually when he says that, he's pretty serious about it, right? 9 hours ago. So we shall have to see. I mean, what else can he do? I don't think that the powers, the very powerful powers that are arrayed against him, are ever going to forgive him for buying X and for not bending the knee to him. So might as well go to war. I mean, here, Elon Musk should face arrest if he incited UK rioters, says ex-Twitter chief. So this is from The Guardian, which is a far-left rag in England. So who is this guy, this ex-Twitter chief? Elon Musk should face personal sanctions and even the threat of an arrest warrant if found to be stirring up public disorder on his social media platform, a former Twitter executive has said. It cannot be the right of the billionaire owner of X and other tech executives to be allowed to sow discord without personal risks. Bruce Daisley, formerly Twitter's vice president for Europe, Middle East, and Africa, writes in The Guardian. So before Elon took over, so he would have been part of the machine, right? Like probably communicating with, intelligence agencies, FBI, CIA, probably every day, right? He would have had one of those portals. I tell you what, it's quite frightening when you see just this spider web of this malign influence. The UK government has called on social media platforms to act responsibly after violent unrest swept through the UK following the fatal stabbing of 3 young girls at a Taylor Swift-themed holiday dance class in Southport last month. So, responsibly means don't say anything, don't tell the truth, don't allow people to express themselves because it would reflect badly on the government's policies. So they just have to take it. They have to sit down, shut up, and take it while their children are killed. And it's not the first time. This happened many, many, many times over the last 20 years. Don't forget about the Ariana Grande concert where, a lunatic, an Islamic extremist blew himself up and killed a couple dozen teenage girls. They're expected to act responsibly social media platforms acting responsibly means do not allow people to describe the world accurately on your platform or express themselves honestly. That's what act responsibly means. Do not allow any dissent, because the policies that are causing so much harm and that are upsetting people so much must continue no matter what, and the people don't matter. That's what that's all about. Daisley, who worked at Twitter, now X, from 2012 to 2020, describes Musk as someone who, quote, has taken on the aura of a teenager on the bus with no headphones, creating lots of noise. These people are genuinely gross. He adds, quote, were Musk to continue stirring up unrest, an arrest warrant for him might produce fireworks from his fingertips, but as an international jet setter, it would have the effect of focusing his mind. Jesus. It's no wonder he hates these people so much. His crime is being less censorious than everybody else. That's his crime. And criticizing them, obviously, himself. But his original sin was just being less censorious than everybody else. And X is it's a pretty free speech platform. I certainly don't worry about any of my videos that I post on there being taken down or anything. It's not a total free for all. It has to be legal speech. If it's legal speech, that's okay. Hence the push to make legal speech illegal. Let's see, what do we got here? From August 2024, EU warns Elon Musk ahead of Trump interview to keep hate speech off X. Ahead of Trump interview to keep hate speech, the EU is warning Elon Musk to be careful while he's interviewing the former and very likely future president of the United States. Here's what they wrote. I am writing to you in the context of recent events in the United Kingdom and in relation to the planned broadcast on your platform X of a live conversation between a U.S. presidential candidate and yourself, which will also be accessible to users in the EU. Thierry Breton, European Commissioner for the Internal Market, wrote in a letter that was posted Monday on X. Why not just call it the Ministry of Truth? Like, why not just just go straight with 1984? Just skip any kind of pretending, right? Just go set up the European Union, Ministry of Truth, Ministry of Peace. Go for all of those. Just read 1984 and then just do that. You might as well. That's what you want to do anyway. Just be open about it. Why even try and hide it? You're not hiding it very well at this point. How disgraceful. Disgraceful. They think that they have the right to prevent an American citizen from interviewing a former president, and right now the front runner, I believe, to be the president in the next election, after the next election. Just think of how insanely corrupt and demented that is. Unbelievable. All right. Do you know what? Let's give it just, well, first off, actually, it's time to shut down the YouTube part of this stream. So, as you know, we start every stream on both Rumble and YouTube. And then about an hour in, we cut off the YouTube part because, well, censorship, Stalin tube, mouse tube, whatever you want to call it. But we can't really do the whole stream because it's problematic. It's problematic for YouTube, I think. So anybody watching right now on YouTube, please come over and join us on Rumble. The water's great. Chat's awesome. There's tons of people over here. There's always, a good amount of people watching live. Come over and join us over here. Otherwise, guess I'll see you on Friday night. Ah.